Greetings, dear friends. My name is Mikhail. I'm certified numerologist, regression therapist, and just free thinking soul. And I would just want to share my thoughts regarding the numbers, because numbers are playing a very important role in our life. We cannot imagine the existence without the numbers, right? This is sort of the first alphabet we are learning. Well, in a way that it's international, and you can change the language, but most of the countries are using the calculations, the numbers all over the world, yeah, and the codes, etc., are used also to interact with current technologies. But also, numbers are helping us to measure our energy, to synchronize and harmonize our interaction with the outer world. Like in order, let's say, to arrange the meeting, you would need to arrange certain time, and you cannot arrange certain time if you cannot calculate and if you don't know really the numbers, yeah. So basically, in order to meet one person with another, you are using the numbers. Also, if you're using specific place where you would interact with a certain person or meet, yeah, you should name that place. And in nowadays, it will be also the street numbers. But at the same time, even the name of the certain object can be transformed into numbers, yeah. Like in numerology, you can use the spells and transform them into numbers, because every sound is a vibrational frequency, yeah, and number is the symbol of the vibrational frequency. Yeah, that's why different numbers are symbolizing different patterns of energy. Yeah, and when you mix the numbers, you actually create certain energetic construction, and like if the program, if you like, yeah, which would have certain influence on the environment, just like our date of birth. There is one thing you cannot change in your life, it's your date of birth. You can change your name, you can change your surname, but you cannot change the fact that you are born at a certain day, month, and year, and it all creates a code of your program, your cosmic passport, if you like. So if you know the your cosmic passport, and if you know interpretation of this code, you can actually have vast amount of information about yourself, your program in this reincarnation, your purpose, and well, one of the aspects of your souls, your essence, yeah. Like the God is giving us the tips how to operate, and like you use numbers in your daily life to ring someone, to enter the PIN code, to measure how much hours you spend and how much salary you get, like the amount of energy that you're actually spending, and how much you will get for it, yeah, because numbers are helping us to arrange our life. Like if there is no numbers, there would be no numbers, we would have chaos, like chaos, you know. Like that's why numbers are giving us order, like giving us conscious tuning into certain frequency, and also the role to operate within this digital reality. Yeah? By digital reality, I am not obligatory mentioning only technologies, yeah, but also the universe itself is mathematically designed as well. Yeah, and in our universe we have we have numbers from 1 till 9. So these 9 manifestations are actually operating this reality. And if you also start to focus to such things as sacred geometry, Fibonacci sequence, golden radian, things like that, that you realize that the world is mathematically designed, like precisely. So there is order within the chaos, and the chaos within the order, if you like. So these things are interconnected. So it means that your code, yeah, your date of birth should mean something, right? Why you have born exactly, like why have you born exactly at this time, like when you have specific amount of digital codes? Well, I don't really think that it's coincidence, as well as the ancient priests as well, who applied such knowledge using numerology about discovering the secrets of universe and the human soul using this ancient information which was given to us from, my belief, are much developed civilizations. Like Pythagoras, was one of the most known, who was applying mathematics and sacred geometry and numerology. He was actually a numerologist. Of course, astrology is also playing an important role. Numerology and astrology are two sisters, but I'm talking right now specifically about numerology. So my point is that your code, like the way you have your birthday, like the month you are born, the day you are born, the year you are born, and the order of those numbers within your code, everything matters. Everything is for a reason. Everything is there to tell you who you are and what is your purpose in this life. Let's say the beginning of your date of birth of your code starts from the day you are born, like the most smallest unit and the most important one. Then the biggest unit is the month, and then the bigger unit would be the year. Therefore, because you get more digits as well. But not only because of that, but because the day is shorter than the month, and month is shorter than the day. That's why we have to read our code from day of birth. Let's say I've just created here a little tip. So if you are born in 12/08, 1975, then this is the very beginning of your code, your journey, Let's say if you're born on 12, then you are starting from this digit. This is the first energy that emanates within you, and this is the path you're going through this life. And this path has different numbers with different order. Again, this is just example, completely random date of birth, but you can apply it to yourself as well, like by just I'm telling you idea itself. And so this is beginning, and the end of the date is the combination of all the numbers. So if you calculate them all together, then in this case I was able to reach 33, which is also interesting because it's a master number. And at the end, if you calculate, you get 6. There are two different vibrations, and they're operating on two different frequencies. The master numbers is another topic, like 11, 22, 33, and things like that. But let's say if you would have here 31, then at the end you would get 4. So what I'm trying to tell you is that also those two numbers matter, especially if you're a master number. If you're not master number, like 3 plus 1 would be here, for instance. If let's say here would be not 75 but 73, then the same date of birth would have 31 and 4. So this is the purpose, the very end, like the combination of the long code gives you the final result, which is the life path or the mission of the person. So these two are interconnected because this is the beginning of the code, this is the end of the code. The end and the beginning are interconnected. Like how we say, there is a stick with both sides, and every side is actually influencing another. So it means that these are the crucial numbers that you have to pay attention in your code, but of course everything else also matters. So in numerology, we calculate everything together, until we get just one number. So in this case, if it's 12, then you get 3. So it means that number, I call it number of consciousness and number of soul as well, is number 3. And here we have life path, which is number 33 and 6. So they are influencing each other 24/7. Because this number is the beginning, the push, which comes up from desire or inner motivation of the person. So this is what person actually wants. I want I want to express this energy here, and this number here is my mission, my purpose, what I need to do. So sometimes what I want and I need to do can have certain confrontation, or they can work together to help each other. Yeah, that's why when you want to understand your program, you have to take both of them into consideration. And also we have to take into consideration the numbers that you actually have in this code right here, because you may have certain numbers repeating, or you may have certain numbers missing, and all of that also tells you what kind of energies and planets are affecting your path, and those who are dominating or missing will already help you to understand what you need to go through, what you need to work upon to make yourself, let's say, the better version of yourself, because we're all different. We all have our pluses and minuses, we all have our abilities, and we all have something to exchange and share. So let's say if I take this date of birth and write it down in this tiny square, then you can actually see that this is a good date in a way that it has a lot of numbers, but there are missing numbers. And what is interesting, number 3 and number 6 is missing. And that's very interesting, because the life path of this person has 3, 3, and 6 at the end when you calculate, and there's a hidden number 3 right there. So it means that these two things need to be opened up because they're missing in this code. And it already tells us that this is the energies which one person can share and give to others. Let's say if you would have date of birth with a square like this, but let's say different numbers, like of couple of 3s, then it means that that person can give 3 to that person, and this person can share those numbers. That's why we are, as the programs of Matrix, we are necessary to each other. We're helping each other. We're exchanging with vibrational frequencies, which can be explained using numbers as well. And everything matters. Also, of course, those two matters, because this number, this part represents physical body, this is emotional body, astral body, and this is a mental body. And all the if we calculate them until 1, we will have separate numbers here as well. And those numbers are influencing our thinking, way of thinking, our pattern of the way we act, the way we see, the way we operate in this reality, the way we express ourselves, yeah. And it basically affects our mind, emotions, and our body, because every number is linked with different planets. Well, in this case, in our solar system, yeah. Of course, it depends on the numerological school you're upon, but because they're different. But actually, if you learn all of them, there are no confrontations. They are just completing each other. Yeah, I am the person who is into like various numerological schools, and I like to combine them together rather than saying that they're different and confronting them. Yeah, it's just a matter of acceptance and perspective, how far you want to go into numbers. But of course, this is just a very basic information I'm telling you right now, but it already means something, right? It means that I can compare my numbers with other people and see what kind of numbers do they have here and what kind of numbers I have, and how we can help with each other in terms of sharing with different how to say, like different energetical frequencies, yeah, because number is the symbol of certain vibrational frequency, certain energy, certain emanation of the universe from 1 till 9. And of course, what can I say, that already by looking at this date, I can already see that this person has a very global mission in this life. And this mission is linked with global thinking and global help. It's a master of healing love, yeah, because it's a master number. And if we take into consideration that there is a hidden number 3 and 2 of number 3s right here, then I can say that his life will be linked with communication, with creativity, perhaps with certain artistic expression, yeah, but at the same time, it's also linked with the family. But family can be understood in very different ways. Like the family can be also like the world. But the way this person expresses its energy is by supporting his family or the world. That's why this person has a very global thinking in this case, yeah, and he has amazing organizing abilities. But this is just like 2 or 3 phrases, so you can go much deeper into that. My purpose is actually not to give you a full lecture about this date of birth, but just wanna raise your awareness of the value of the codes, because the codes are serving us. And when you are constantly seeing certain numbers, pay attention to your code, pay attention to your numbers. Perhaps there is a link with them as well. Because also, of course, universe is using numbers which are linked specially with us. Of course, you can find 20 people saying 1111. Okay, this is understandable. But we also have to take into consideration at what moment and period of time you're actually seeing these numbers. What are you thinking about? Yeah, and how familiar are you with the understanding of the numbers themselves? However, the number, every single number actually tells you the meaning about it. If you just meditate, if you just think about number, you can get so much different information about it. For instance, if we take 0, yeah, 0, like there is a 0 in the code, it also has a meaning. The order of the numbers has a meaning. If it would be 03 or 30, like if the person is born on 3rd of August would be, let's say, yeah, or if the person would be born on 30th August, yeah, it has a different meaning. Of course, the end result is very similar, but in between states and the arrangement of the zeros gives you also additional information, like every single combination. So if you learn the numbers, it's like you're learning the alphabet. If you learn the alphabet, when you put your spells together, you create sentence or the meaning. So basically, if you learn the numbers, you start to read your map, your cosmic passport of your identity. That's why if you just think, yeah, the numbers itself, they're giving us certain order, like to arrange your time, to understand how much you're going to get paid for this amount of hours, yeah, and hours are also numbers, yeah. For instance, if you know how tall or short you are and your weight, you already know if you are on normal weight or if you are too thin, or perhaps you need to lose your weight, or perhaps you need to gain weight to be more healthy. And you can understand that not only by the physical appearance, you can just by the numbers of how tall you are and what kind of weight you have. I mean, these are just like basic things, but they're helping us to organize our life to make them much more conscious. So the same thing is about your date of birth. Your date of birth is a tip how to operate in this incarnation, in this universe, yeah. Because the fact itself that you are born at specifically this type of like year and millennium, yeah, it also has reasons. Some people think, oh, well, the calendar dates are changing, so they're not working. That's not true. That's not true. When we're changing the calendar, we are changing we're switching to another digital matrix, which is working here and now for a certain civilization. And of course, our spirit guides and our higher selves know that, so they are adjusting the time for you to get this incarnation here and now using your date of birth. Your date of birth is a digital portal of incarnation, so you as a program would match within the matrix. So you would be operating in harmony with yourself and learn something, yeah? So basically, obviously, if you know all those numbers and if you know importance of these two, you can understand so much about your life. Also, there sometimes people are saying that, I mean, like, what the heck? The date of birth is similar or the same. Of why people are different? Let me tell you why. First of all, because you have different name and surname that the person with the same date of birth, and I told you that the spells can be transformed into numbers, so it gives you additional codes. It gives you different tasks, additional different tasks apart from just date of birth. Another thing, the parents, your parents' environment, the people are interacting with, they have different date of birth than that person with the same date of birth. Yeah. So they're already influencing your numbers, yeah, like, because we all have those different squares and we are influencing each other. And it's like, pickle like cucumber. What you pour in the water will give the taste of the cucumber. So basically, the environment is affecting our date of birth as well, yeah. And nobody has taken away your choice of freedom. Even if we have date of birth with a certain program, this program has such a vast amount of different abilities and emanations that we still have a choice who we want to be. Like if, let's say, the person lifestyle is linked with creativity, yeah, or creative energy, the creative energy can be manifested in so many different ways. Of course, the more you know about the date, the more precise you can give idea about that. Yeah. So basically, if you're lost, if you like need compass, your date of birth, your code is just like your tip, your map from the creator, like where you need to go, what you need to do, and things like that. Yeah. Because I have. Students, yeah, which I teach, and I always they are always fascinated by the experience, how what they were thinking about themselves start to come out from the perspective of numbers, and they start to compare their inner feelings, and they start to distinguish themselves from the real person or the illusionary information about themselves, because sometimes we may think about ourselves from the perspective of other people said about us, yeah? Like our ego is operating that way. It's affected by other people's opinions, yeah? Other people programs and digits as well. So in order to understand who you are, you have to focus on your own code, yeah? And it's fascinating, how people are matching to their programs. I'm sure every numerologist, like the serious numerologist, would agree with me. Otherwise, there would be no point of this science at all, because I perceive it as a science. I think Pythagoras was also a very wise man, and he was not the only one, yeah, who of course was into numbers. Like the ancient knowledge about numbers exists pretty much all over the world. It just split, yeah, you have to collect it. There are like Vedic numerology, Chinese numerology as well, or European, yeah. Well, again, Pythagoras school. Like Freemasons were those who have taken some of this knowledge, and that's what they like to do. They like to decode the messages, and well, you can find a bunch of information about it if you go deep, yeah. But another thing which I want to tell you is, once you start to get friends with numbers, your self-awareness is rising up, because the inner awareness would have certain structure and system which is coming out from understanding of your code. Because when you start to read your code, your subconscious aspect becomes conscious. Like your conscious self starts to understand your subconscious self, and you start to understand yourself more from the deeper perspective. As a regression therapist, I can say that these things are working pretty well together as well. Yeah, I was fascinated by the fact that, for instance, by looking at date of birth. Some of my students, and we did a couple of regression sessions, and we saw her lives, and her lives were so much matching to her code, and it was like so much understandable in a way that why she has this specific numbers, because they were matching to the characters and abilities and experience of her previous lives as well. Yeah. So she was also very surprised by that. So this is another perspective I was comparing it with. Yeah. Anyway, there are various calculation methods and systems. Like what you see here, I didn't even do calculation. Well, I did, but like the very short and very basic. But there are just much profounder systems of calculations that you can do, which can help you to have sort of like, you know, there's a weather forecast, which is quite precise. So you can make a forecast or certain numerological prediction, but it's not really prediction, it's a forecast. It tells the cycles of your numbers and influences of those energies on you, and the issues you have to deal, and like the level of success you can reach. Or basically, it tells you the flow you can go with, and then you can get certain things to be done much more easier rather than just wanting something without it happen. And then you're like, you know, walking against the wind or going with the flow, like two different ways of interaction with reality. In harmony with yourself. What is harmony? Is understanding your nature and how your nature is operating with external environment. So once you harmonize them, then you find your own place. You as a program know where you need to operate within this digital matrix, and you basically just start to feel happy because you at the end are, you know, completing your program. Yeah, so if you know the meanings, you know how it works. I can give you like very basic example that every number tells you information about itself without even knowing anything about the numbers. The way the numbers are, are created in terms of the visual appearance, yeah, the shape of the number has a meaning. Order of the number from 1 till 9, the way it's located, which are the neighbors of the number. By the neighbors, I mean, let's say number 4. So before number 4 we have 3, and on the right after number 4 we have 5. So I would say that the neighbors of number 4 are 3 and 5. So if they're next to each other, so it means that they are necessary to each other, they're influencing each other, and it already gives a big explanation of the number. So one more example to give you a much fuller picture. So we have, let's say, the 0. And what is 0? 0 is also number. But this number, people don't perceive it as number. Then my question is, if the 0 is not existing, let's say there's only 1 till 9, then how can the 0 influence other numbers? So let's say if I just write down number 8, it is number 8. But if I place 0 next to number 8, I will have 80. And the number 8 will have 10 times bigger power than it was before, than it had before. How do you think? Or I can put 0 on the other side will be 0, 8. So it will be 8. So number 0 can give you power or take it away, because 0 is the energy of possibilities, energy of freedom. Because freedom gives you like choices, extra choices. So if you have 0 in your date of birth, or you have no zeros, it also gives very interesting information about the person or the road that the person is going into. So let's say 0 is nothing and everything at the same time. 0 is absolute. It means it's a creator. It's an energy of creator. So that's why we like to do Om, yeah, to go deep within ourselves if we're chanting this very basic sound. And if you imagine 0 and you put many zeros next to each other, it makes the tunnel which can take you within. That's why we use calculations as well to lead person consciousness during regression sessions like hypnotherapy, induction. Yeah, it's very important because it's affecting your consciousness. It creates the road within your consciousness. Yeah, and another thing which I wanted to say, so 0 is nothing and everything. It's like blank paper. Like the paper is blank. There is nothing on it. But can we say that this paper is not existing? No, we can't, because there is nothing. In order for nothing to exist, something should exist. If you get the point, it's a very philosophical thing. So let's say there is nothing. Nothing should exist, so it wouldn't exist. You know? I hope you get the point. If not, it's okay. Totally fine with that. And on this blank paper, the emanation of nothing starts to come out, and from the 0, what is the first number that comes up? It's number 1. From 0 comes up number 1. So if you take number 1, it's like, so from 0 did not come 2 as a first number, or 3, or 9. 9 is the last number. Yeah, and the number 1 was the first number. So if the number comes from nothing as a first, which is number 1, what can we say about its character? It's a brave number. It's a leading number, because it comes up as a first from nothing, while the rest of the numbers are waiting. From the 0 comes up 1. So it's a number of leader. Yeah, and number 1 is the only number which is by itself. By that I mean that it has no pairs. It cannot be divided. Well, you can divide it into pieces like 0.5 and etc. But as a vessel, as a complete, it's 1. And if it's complete by itself, then we can say that number 1 is about tendency of expressing, coming out from the crowd and showing its individuality. Yeah, so like number 2 is already pair, 1 and 2. So after 1 comes up 2. After masculine comes up feminine. That's why number 2 requires someone. Number 2 is 1 and 2. So it means that 2 numbers require certain reflection and interaction. That's why number 2 is so much tuned into communication or interaction with others. Yeah, because number 2, to feel complete, requires someone next to them. And that someone, if you divide number 2, you have 1 and 1. 1 is looking at 1. So it means it's a mirror. And if it's a mirror, it's a reflection. That's why number 2 understands other people, because it has a great ability of empathy. Yeah, so I'm just telling you that this is information that you can get out of numbers just by meditating on them. But of course, it requires certain time. Yeah, so this is just my short intro about the magic of numbers and influence of numbers in our life. So if, ladies and gentlemen, you found this video interesting, hit like, subscribe to my channel, and if you want to learn about your date of birth, or perhaps you want to learn about your code, yeah, I'm inviting you into either private meeting or teaching, yeah, because I teach numerology as well. Yeah, I just want people to have this amazing tool which helps to understand them about themselves. Yeah. Otherwise, thank you for watching this video until very end, and I wish you all the best, and see you soon. Take care.